Working with Judith Light, for God's sake, that keeps me on my toes, and it's such a treat and such a joy and such a blessing to be able to work with that woman.
How do you keep a straight face? I see the scenes and I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys must be cracking up.
It's really, really hard because we were doing a scene where she was giving me a wet bath when I was in the hospital bed, and my eyes, I was unconscious, and I was like, she's saying all this weird shit to me, and I was laying there. I was like, I was killing myself trying to keep my eyes closed because I just wanted to open them up and just watch her, and I get to watch her plenty, and it's there's some stuff coming up with her that is just absolutely killer. It's just, it's such a treat. And she complains about the fact whenever she and I have a scene, she gets the bulk of the dialogue because she's so freaking good, But and she goes, she'll look at the scene, and she go, okay, so what? I talk the whole time, and you just kind of stand there, throw a few things in, and I go, that's the way we like it. So, but it's so I get to sit and just watch her and watch her work, and plus everybody else that I'm working with is it's a blessing. It really is.
Now, the end of the second episode this year, which we've seen, and we'll obviously embargo this part, your character reveals to the Ewings that he may be working with the CIA or something like that. How much of that story do you believe yourself as an actor?
How much do I believe?
Do you think that Ryland could possibly be a good guy?
I think that he has. You have to believe that your character is doing right. No matter how screwed up they are, they always have to feel like they're. If you feel like I'm a bad guy, then you look like then you come off as somebody trying to play a bad guy. And so I think that he buys in everything that he's doing, and he's doing it out of a sense of duty. He's probably fairly conservative, so I think that he thinks that he's doing what's right for his country and for just for what's right, I guess. It's his duty.
Does he have any loyalty to his mother at this point?
That's a really good question. I think that she's pissed him off so much, and they have just done so many horrible things to each other, and she screwed him up so much over his life that I think it's hard, but still, I think that he kind of looks at it every once in a while and goes, "Wow," and he sees things in himself, that in her. There's actually a line in this next script that is pretty telling. About that. She says something to him, and his response really tells what their relationship is at this point. I don't think he didn't intentionally push her down the stairs. I think that was an accident. A lot of people think that he did. and that there's another line that references that coming up too. So it's pretty cool. But
as a viewer, how do you feel about the show when you watch it compared to the one you watched 30 years ago? I think it's drastic change. The pace, you were talking about the pace, but when you watch it, not as an actor.
I went back and looked at some scenes from the original, and of course with the film aging and stuff like that, it does look murkier and stuff like that. But it's in this the high def is so crisp and so clean, and everything is looks so amazing. I think that it's. Linda said to me at the beginning, I said, we're on cable, and she goes, what does that mean? And I go, we can swear. We can take our clothes off. She says, oh my. So I think there's a lot of things that we can do that we couldn't do back then. And then of course there was having Larry there, which was huge. Unfortunately, we don't have him anymore. It's a good question. I think the pace, the crispness of the show, the fact that there is. I guess there was a lot of sex back then, but it wasn't really as.
Detailed.
It wasn't like Julie and Josh rolling around like they do now.
But it was pretty sexy back then. I think it was pretty,
I think for the time, I think it was. I think it was really. I think that's probably why a lot of people watched it. You know.
One or two more questions.
As this family's been assembled around you in a way, as an actor, how does, I mean, you approach a character in a certain way, but how does the kind of, to that chemistry, the addition of Emma and the addition of Judith and the kind of, not just playing a man with relationships, but playing against those relationships in person, how much does he changed in sort of the time that you've spent with him?
I think he definitely has changed quite a bit with the introduction of Judith and their relationship, whatever it is. And then with Emma, I think that he's you know, I think at the beginning he started out just as kind of a kick-ass Texas businessman, you know, who just didn't take any crap from anybody and did what he wanted to do and you know, ground people under his heels. And then with her coming in, it's like now he's almost having to be deferential to his mother because she has the real power. She owns the company and she can, you know, she can boot him out. And then he's dealing with a daughter who can have, you know, has had him thrown in jail, has you know, really messed with him in a lot of ways, but he messed with her too, which was a result of his upbringing and transferred to, you know, how he dealt with his daughter, his relationship with his daughter. So I think it really has brought a lot of I think it's made him more complex, and then with the introduction of the other stuff that's happening this season, it's like, you know, and what happens from there, it's pretty cool. It's pretty wild.
If we look at that mother and son relationship, it's paralleled in Sue Ellen and John Ross. What do you think Dallas as a piece of fiction, or what do you think Cynthia's saying about Texan mothers? Because we have two very strong.
They're pretty kick-ass. I mean, if you know Texas women, they're pretty. They got a lot of character and they got a lot of strength about them. I don't know if it goes back to the Germanic roots of you know, the number of Germans that moved into the state, but that's very a classic characteristic of Germanic people is the strength, especially of the women. You know, and I think there's a lot of strong Texas women. I went to school at UT, and so I've been around Texas women a long time. I love them. But yeah, does that answer your question? Make any sense? Okay.
Thank you.